YouTube? It's Fox. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is January 25th, and it's kind of a sad day, you know. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of Kobe's passing, and that kind of hits home for me. I mean, Kobe was probably one of my first favorite players. You know, he was the first person I ever got a jersey from. Shout out to my Uncle Punchy for getting that for me. And I just remember I grew up watching Kobe Bryant. I mean, you know, we all did. And Kobe was just special. I remember watching all of his finals against, both finals against the Celtics. Those were battles. And Kobe was something special. Kobe was something special to a lot of people. I mean, all over the world. I mean, I cannot say enough about him. I loved watching his matchups against LeBron. I love watching his matchups the most, though, against Dwayne Wade. Those two guys went at it. I mean, they were some of the best shooting guards in the league. They were the two best. And their battles were amazing. And hearing Dwayne Wade talk about some of those battles is so fun. You know, he mentioned, a lot of people have probably heard about it, but he talked about the game, the All-Star game, when he broke Kobe's nose on accident, off of some, kind of a freak play. He broke his nose, and he called him up and he was like, "Hey man, I'm real sorry." And Kobe was like, "I love it." He was like, "I love it. Don't worry about it. I'll see you, we got a game coming up, so I'll see you then." And Dwayne Wade was like, "Oh shit." This motherfucker's crazy. And for a lot of people, Kobe Bryant was crazy. I mean, you don't see a lot of people putting their 100% in every single day for 2 decades. I mean, this dude, he was cocky, he was arrogant, but he was thoughtful at the same time. I mean, he learned other players' languages so he could talk to them better on the court. He learned, I forget what language Luka Doncic speaks. Slovenian, I think. And he learned how to say something to him when he went to see one of his games. And that was just, it's little shit that Kobe did, and that was just so amazing. And it was such an unbelievable tragedy, man. I'll never forget that day. It seemed like the world stopped for like a minute. I remember looking at shit, scrolling through Instagram before I had to go to work, and somebody had put up, some rest in peace Kobe. And I was like, oh, it was another one of these hoax things. Kobe's not really dead. And then I saw something else, and I was like, let me check in on this. And I started scrolling through Twitter, and Twitter wasn't working. I went to, all these news channels. Nothing was working. Like, all of it was down. And then 2 minutes later, everything just exploded. It was on every single TV. It was the only thing you saw on Twitter. It was on every single news page. And I couldn't believe, I was shocked. I called my parents, and those were the first people I called about it. And they were I think they were busy at the time or asleep at the time or something. And I woke them up, and I was like, "Yo, Kobe just died." And they couldn't believe it. They woke up and they started watching the news and getting all caught up with it. And I had to go to work, and it was anything anybody could talk about all day long. It was just like a sadness was, like, you could feel it. It was palpable. Everybody could feel just that sadness. Like, Kobe had that effect on everybody. Plus, I mean, his daughter as well. She was amazing. She was, if you go back and watch some of her film, she was amazing. And there are NBA players and WNBA players that have talked about her, and they said, yeah, no, she was on her way. She was on her way to be one of the best WNBA players of all time. She was going to be there. She had a passion for it. She had the skills for it. And of course, she had Kobe there to, coach her through the way. And man, it's just so sad. And I feel so bad for Vanessa and the rest of them. I mean, that was like the biggest tragedy. And man, I miss watching Kobe play. I miss seeing what Kobe was up to. He'd go on all these talk shows and shit. And it just seemed like he made everyone around him so happy. Jimmy Fallon was in tears when he did his tribute to Kobe. And he said he had only met him a handful of times. They had that awesome story when they were younger, and they met at a party in LA when they were both still kind of getting their starts. And then, he'd come on the show a couple times, but he wasn't that close. But Kobe just had that way about him. Jordan said it, LeBron said it, everybody has said, that Kobe just kind of had that way about him to, even when you didn't want him to touch you like that, he just did. that's what Jordan said. He was like, he had that way of just getting under your skin, but in the most lovable way ever. And he was impressive. And I try to live my life, and I'm trying to live my life more like him. If you're going to do something, give it your all. Don't do anything half-assed. You don't want to look back 5 years, 10 years, 50 years from now and say, I could have done more. And I think that's something that everybody has really got to live their life by. I don't want to live with any regrets. I don't want to go back and say I could have did more and maybe this would have worked out. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that whatsoever. And I don't think you should want that either. I think everyone should aspire to give it 100% their all. And even when that happens, it doesn't work out, but at least you could look back and be proud of yourself. At least you can look back and say, it didn't work, man, but god damn did I sure as shit try to make it work. I gave it my all, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. If you did your best, and that's all that matters. And Kobe did that every single night on the court. He did it with his family during retirement. He was impressive. He was my first favorite player, and his 60-point final game, that was amazing. I was on FaceTime with a girl I was talking to at that time, and I told her, I was like, yo, I gotta hang up. I'll talk to you later, because I'm watching Kobe do this once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, I have to go. I'm not going to be paying attention to you. I don't even want you in the background right now. I got to go. Like, goodbye. And I hung up, because it was that special. It was that special. You couldn't be giving your attention, like, half attention to it. It was too big. I remember telling my friends that day at school, being like, man, Kobe's going to drop 82. And they're like, shut the fuck up. I was like, yo, look, maybe not 82, but he's going to do something special. I was like, watch. It's Kobe Bryant. He is going to go out with a bang. And they're like, man, it's going to be Kobe's last game. He's going to be doing what he's been doing for the rest of the season. I said, no. I was like, there's no way Kobe is going to go out like that. And he didn't. He went out and dropped fucking 60, 61 points. It was amazing. It was just like one of the pinnacle of sports movies. I mean, it really was a movie. It was something out of a movie where if you saw that, you would be like, this dude played for 20 years and he goes out after all these injuries and he drops 60 points. No, he didn't. Come on, man. It's too far-fetched. And we're seeing it live in front of our faces. That's amazing. Against a team who wasn't just letting him get these buckets. Like, they were one game away from being in the playoffs. That was Gordon Hayward's Utah Jazz. They needed to win that game and they would have gotten in the playoffs. And he went out, dropped 60, took them out of the playoffs. They were playing hard. They weren't just giving them these buckets. Like, this dude really went out and took 60 points from a team trying to get into the playoffs. And he did that. I mean, you can't say enough about Kobe. You really can't. You really, really can't. And it's such a tragedy that he's gone, Man, it's such a shitty thing that he's gone. I mean, him and his daughter too. They were just seeing him on the court, courtside. That was, aside from basketball, that was some of the coolest shit. Seeing him come back to Staples, getting a standing ovation. He was at LeBron's game in Philly, when he passed him for all time. And it was just surreal when he passed. It still is. It was still so sad. And, it was a horrible way to start off 2020. The rest of the year fucking followed. But with that being said about Kobe, I want to move into some of the other sports stuff. So let's talk about some football. Let's just start it off with the AFC-NFC Championship game. That just happened. So, Tom Brady. What else is there to say, man? It's Tom Brady. He's impressing the hell out of me, man. And I used to hate Tom Brady, a lot. I really was still not, a huge fan of his. But he's the GOAT when it comes to football. He's the GOAT. He's not the greatest athlete of all time. I don't want to hear anyone talk that shit because Usain Bolt, LeBron James, Serena Williams, there are a ton of people way more athletic than Tom Brady. He's amazing at what he does. He is the best quarterback, best football player of all time. But no way, shape, or form is he the best athlete to ever walk the earth. Not even a chance. Muhammad Ali, it's not even close. It shouldn't even be a conversation. The fact that people are trying to do it on these sports talk shows is absolutely ridiculous. Who the hell in their right mind would actually think Tom Brady is the best athlete of all time? There's a difference between being the best football player and the best athlete of all time. It's not even a conversation. It shouldn't be. And then, we have in the AFC, we have Pat Mahomes. I mean, this kid is what, 22, 23, something like that? Like, he's young. He's really young, and he's going back to a second championship back to back. This kid is special. That team is special. Andy Reid, one of my favorite coaches. He was with the Eagles way back when Michael Vick came back, and he was a big reason why Michael Vick got to come back. And he took a chance on him, which I loved, and he's been one of my favorite coaches ever since. So seeing him, one, get a championship last year, and two, get to try and go for it again, man, there's nothing better. I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the best coaches. So we are setting up to have a great Super Bowl. A great Super Bowl. That defense in Tampa Bay versus that offense in Kansas City, I'm excited to see what Hill's going to do, if he's going to be able to be as impactful as he has been. Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes. I don't think anything is going to get to him. And then Tom Brady, Gronk. We'll see if Antonio Brown can play. It's going to be an exciting Super Bowl. Hopefully not like that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl that was a couple years back. That was pretty lame. It was just real low scoring, and some that's for some people, just not for me. I like to see them going back and forth a little bit. But off of that, man, let's get into the NBA, because like I said, it's going to be primarily about that on my channel. Let's talk about these Nets. I mean, Kyrie came back and fucked everything up, if we're going to be honest. I mean, I didn't think it was going to work just with Kyrie and KD. And then you add James Harden in the mix. I really don't see it working, man. And you come back with three of the best scorers in the NBA, and you guys lose to the Cavs twice. Colin Sexton absolutely dog jaw. I mean, Kyrie couldn't handle him. James Harden couldn't handle him. Nobody. I mean, he dropped 42, 44, something like that on y'all heads. Like, it was ridiculous. And I really think Kyrie is just going to really mess up their chemistry, because when it was just KD and James Harden, when Kyrie was out, they were cooking. It looked like nobody could stop him. Like I know it was a small sample size and it was only 2 games, but they were playing really, really well. And then Kyrie came back in, and for both games that they played, he took twice as many shots as James Harden. Twice as many, and not as efficient as James Harden was either. And I used to be a huge Kyrie fan just because, he was with the Cavs back when LeBron was with him. But, man, Kyrie has changed a lot, and he has become a locker room, cancer. I mean, he ruined shit in Cleveland when he left. He ruined it with the Celtics. I mean, you heard about that shit almost immediately. So I'm fairly confident that he's going to mess it up in Brooklyn as well, just somehow. I mean, I just feel like Kyrie has way too much of an ego. Kevin Durant won't mess it up as much. He doesn't have that big of an ego. But Kyrie and James Harden, I mean, all three of these guys are pretty sensitive players. Like, you got to remember, Kevin Durant is the same guy who made burner accounts to respond to, everyday people on Twitter because they were saying mean things about him. That's Kevin Durant. Kyrie left because he wanted to go and make his own team. And then he went and joined Kevin Durant because he couldn't do it by himself anymore. And he's still not sacrificing. You have to, when you have a big 3 like that, somebody has to sacrifice. And these last 3 games, he came in and basically sent a message to everyone on the team, ain't gonna be me. I'm not gonna be the one that sacrifices whether we win or lose. He's not gonna be the one that takes less shots. He's not gonna be the one that takes less touches. He's not gonna be the one to pass it off the game winner. He's not that guy. And that's going to cause major problems in the Nets organization, for sure. For sure. Especially since they just traded away a lot of good people. Karis LeVert's gone, Jarrett Allen's gone. So they're going to have some trouble. Especially when it comes to, if they get that far, the finals. I mean, the Lakers are looking nasty yet again. I mean, they have the best point differential in the NBA right now. They win a game by average of 10 plus points, and the next closest one is, I'm pretty sure, Milwaukee at 8.6, maybe closer to 9. The Lakers are rolling, and LeBron is playing real slow. He's not dropping a lot of points. He's not going real hard. He's averaging his career low in minutes right now, which is amazing for them. So they're going to be in good shape. They're going to be in great shape. So I'm really looking forward to that finals. But if the Nets can get there, I mean, I don't know if they'll get past the Celtics. I mean, holy shit, Celtics are killing it right now. I've never seen this is the best they've looked. And especially, I mean, that's saying a lot after getting rid of Gordon Hayward. I mean, that is really, really, really impressive. I was not expecting them to go and to do that well at all. So we're shaping up to have a great season, and everything is so tight right now. I know it's real early in the season, kind of, but I mean, the West is tight. The East is tight right now. You got some great teams in both Philly, Celtics, Nets, Milwaukee, and then in the West, you've got, the Clippers, LA, Denver, which Denver's underperforming right now. But if you look at the season Jokic is having right now, holy shit. This dude's averaging a triple-double right now, and he has the best PER in the league, and nobody's talking about it. And I don't understand how that is going so so unnoticed right now. He has the best PER in the league. And just to let you guys know, in the last 10 years, for all the players, for the last 10 years, every player to have the best PER in the league, about 8 of them have won the MVP. It was LeBron did it like 2 or 3 times. Kevin Durant did it in 2014. Russell Westbrook, 2017. And then, of course, Giannis. So it's been majority of the players with the highest PER have won the MVP, but they've also been on some of the best teams, and they really need to get their shit together. They are woefully underperforming right now. I don't even think they're in the playoffs as of today. They're not in the playoffs right now, which I know they lost some good pieces, but Jamal Murray is not playing up to standards right now. He needs to hoop a little bit more. Absolutely, he needs to get it going. And Jamal Murray is averaging like 19.5 points per game right now, which is decent, but that's underperforming for him. Like, we've seen what he can do. We've seen him average 30 in the playoffs. We've seen him battle Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and come out on top. We've seen him do these things, and he needs to do that consistently. And, I mean, maybe he's being smart about it and kind of doing what LeBron does and saving himself for the playoffs, but at the same time, he's 23. He shouldn't really need to do that. He should be giving it his all every single night, and he should be dropping big points. Now, he did have that double overtime game with Phoenix the other night where he dropped, I think it was like 26 points, which is good, but he could easily average 25. Easily. And in a game like that where you're going into double OT, you should be somewhere between 30 to 35. It should be no problem for Jamal Murray, and I don't know if he's just having a bad season right now, but Jokic needs a little bit more help. Jokic needs a little bit more help, and I mean, speaking of him, he had 20-some points. He almost had as many rebounds as he had points the other night in that double overtime game. Jokic is playing out of his mind this season, and I haven't heard one person talk about it. I mean, he is doing amazing. He is blowing my mind right now because Jokic does not look like someone who can hoop. Like, if you put out a picture of all these players and you said, choose the one that doesn't belong, we're playing Among Us, choose the imposter, you're choosing Jokic every time. Like, yeah, he's tall, but he doesn't look like he belongs on a court. And yet this dude is just balling every single night. He's hooping. I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed. And he definitely, if he keeps this up, he deserves to be in the conversation for MVP. 100%. 100%. More than Kevin Durant. I know he's coming off that Achilles and everything right now, but Jokic 100% deserves to be in the conversation for MVP if he's averaging a triple-double or if he's even close. I mean, Russell Westbrook did it, and he got the MVP, obviously. I mean, he didn't get it the next 2 years. He did it, but Jokic 100% deserves to be in that conversation for MVP. If they start performing how they deserve to be, I mean, top 4 in the West, somewhere between there. Lakers at 1 or 2, Clippers at 1 or 2, and then probably the Phoenix Suns are going to be up there. Somewhere around there. They deserve to be right in that conversation. And if they are up there, Jokic should win MVP easily. 100%. There's nobody else playing as well as him, as consistently well as him right now in the league. I mean, God forbid he gets hurt. I really hope he doesn't. They could do something special. They could do something special. They could really come back, especially after last year, what we saw. They can come back and shock a lot of people. And I really hope they do. And speaking of the Lakers, man, I'm thoroughly impressed with some of the guys that they got. I really thought that it was going to be, I wasn't too sure about some of the new pickups. I mean, I knew Dennis Schroeder. I knew he balls out. I knew that. I mean, he was super impressive. Even way back with the Hawks, when he was going up against those LeBron Cavs teams, he was really impressive then. And he was young around that time. So I know he was going to be a good piece. Montrezl Harrell, he has some of his fault, some of his issues, and he has some of his lower points in his game. But he's been playing out of his mind too. And Kyle Kuzma has been... No, I haven't heard any shit talking about Kyle Kuzma on social media because he's been hooping. He's been doing really well. He's been doing really, really well. And then KCP, actually, I think it's Alex Caruso who's leading the league in three-point percentage right now, like 51, 52%. And then KCP is maybe fourth in the NBA right now. He's killing it as well. I mean, they surrounded people, shooters around LeBron. And, I mean, that's the key to success. I mean, you saw it in Miami. You saw it in Cleveland. I mean, you had Mike Miller, Ray Allen in Miami. And then in Cleveland, you had J.R. Smith. Kyrie, obviously. Kevin Love could knock it down as well. So that is what they really need to do. Anthony Davis has been kind of underperforming this year a little bit. He said it himself. He had a game the other night where he did really well. But yeah, they're dangerous. They're coasting right now. You could see it. You can absolutely see it in the way they play. They are coasting, and they deserve to. I mean, they don't need to go hard every single night. They need to save that for the postseason because they're going to be there. They need to save LeBron's legs because, I mean, the motherfucker is 36 years old and he's still doing this shit, which is crazy, by the way. We've never seen, other than Tom Brady, an athlete at this age, who's played for as long as he did, be this good. Be in the conversation for MVP. Now, I don't really think he, right now, deserves it. I think last year he did, and the most recent year that he really deserved the MVP but didn't get it was 2018. That was the best basketball play I've ever seen by somebody. I mean, that was amazing. He played all 52 games. He averaged a career high in assists, and I think in rebounds that year as well. A career high in minutes, and he took that Cavs team in 2018 to the fucking finals. There's not a player that I honestly think could take that team to the finals. Kevin Durant couldn't. I'm not super confident that Jordan could take that team to the finals. We saw Jordan with teams like that earlier in his career, and he didn't take them there. I mean, LeBron took teams just like that, if not worse, to the finals in 2007. He did. So I really don't think if Jordan had that team, he would have been, especially at that age. I mean, that was 3 years ago, but still, I don't think Jordan would have been able to take them all the way. And I know that's going to be controversial for a lot of people, but I just don't think he would have been able to get it done. And, I mean, obviously they lost, but they went up against Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. No one's beating that team. No one is beating that team. The Rockets couldn't beat them. Nobody could beat them. So, yeah, he definitely should have won it that year. But this year, people are trying to put him into the talks of MVP, because of his age and everything like that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he should be in it right now. I mean, he's playing good. He's not, a scrub by any means. But I just don't think he should be in the conversation when there are other people balling out like Jokic way more than he is. Way more. You take Jokic off that Denver team, they're bottom of the West. They're not going anywhere. You take LeBron off that team, I think this is the first year in all of his 18, 19 years in the league that you can say if you took LeBron off of the Lakers team, they still might be in the playoffs. They might still be in playoff contention with all the pieces they have around them. They're a really, really good team. So I don't think LeBron should be in the MVP talks this year, me personally. But it's going to be an exciting postseason for sure. There's a lot of matchups that I really want to see happen, and it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, between the number 2 spot and I think like the number 10 spot, there's maybe 2 games in between all of them right now. So, I mean, it's going to come down to the wire who gets out and who doesn't. And speaking of the finals last year, the Heat are not doing what I thought they would. I know Jimmy Butler was out for a couple games, or he might still be out, but they're not the team of last year. And I know they lost Jay Crowder to the Suns, and he was a big piece for them, but I didn't think he was that big of a piece to where they're bottom of the East right now. They should be doing a lot better. So the rest of the season is going to be very exciting to watch, and I'm really excited for it. But that's all I got for you guys today. I will see you guys I'll see you guys Wednesday. All right. We're going to be talking about some music. Most likely I'll be talking to you guys about some of Mac Miller stuff that his family put out and all that surrounding that. There's a lot of cool stuff surrounding those two albums, Swimming and Circles. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.